Congrats on getting the title shot. Congrats on the big win in Norfolk. Before we talk about the title shot and Amanda Nunes and all that, let's revisit the fight briefly. Did the fight go the way you expected it to? I believe you predicted a first round finish, correct?
Yeah, that was definitely my intention. It's always my intention to be done as quickly as possible. It kind of went the way I was expecting, but I'm always kind of ready to take it wherever it go. Deal with whatever comes in the fight. But I kind of figured we would stay standing for a little while, and then pretty much once I get my hands on her, I figured I would be able to take her to the ground and get it done.
Yeah, and Megan fought before you. She got a knockout, a performance bonus. Did you feel any pressure, like you had to go out there and maybe have to one up her or anything? Were you watching her performance in the locker room before you went out there?
No, I didn't feel any added pressure. I still, for me, it was still the same job I had in front of me. I didn't watch her fight, but it was, of course, it was playing in the back room, and my team was kind of tuned into it. I was kind of in the middle of some stretches and warming up that I was doing, so I didn't like intentionally not watch it, but I didn't catch the fight while it was happening.
Oh, I see. And you hold the win over Megan, of course, not too long ago, less than a year ago. Were you surprised that it was such a big debate, like after like the polls, who should get the next title shot and all that? Were you surprised like people forgetting that it's been less than a year that you guys fought and you had an impressive finish over?
Yeah, I was definitely, I guess I could say, surprised by the amount of the debate, going on. But I also understood the arguments that people were making for Megan. But I just knew that I should get the first phone call to get that shot, and I figured that the UFC would kind of agree, and it worked out that way. So yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't have any doubt that it might not be you, or were you thinking like, maybe they might go with her?
I was pretty confident that they would go with me, but at the same time, in my head, I was kind of prepared for whatever came. I knew that it would be a quick turnaround, so I was thinking, well, either I'll jump right back in or I'll get a little break. So I'm always fine with, whatever happens, and luckily we were able to make a quick turnaround.
And yeah, are you happy that it's a quick turnaround? Because that kind of happened with when you beat Megan and you fought Cyborg. That was pretty quick. That was 2 months, and now with the title shot, it's 3 months. Like, would have you rather had more time to prepare, or are you happy that it's kind of all happening so fast?
Yeah, I think it's actually the almost the exact number of weeks, again with the camp. I'm happy with it. I always anticipate getting a little bit of time off, but at the same time, it worked out really well. Last time I went, from camp to camp, and I kind of started off my camp on a different level than I normally do, and I feel really good. And I've been doing some sort of lighter training, but definitely back to training this week, and it's exciting. It's kind of nice to think about getting two fights in a row, and then maybe take a little bit of a longer break after the next one, to get a little rest.
And fortunately for you, I mean, you guys are never like 100%, of course, but the first round finish over Megan and now the first round finish, it's kind of good at least that you're pretty unscathed, right? Instead of going through like 15-minute battle or war.
Yeah, it's nice to come out of the fight not feeling too beat up. It's definitely feels good. I feel great.
And were you surprised? I mean, with the way it was set up, it was like a mini tournament with your fight and Megan's fight, and we've seen the whole champ thing. I mean, a lot of fighters haven't ended up defending their belts. They've kind of given up. They've relinquished one of their belts. Are you surprised to see that Amanda's actually going to defend her featherweight title? Do you have any doubt when you first signed with the UFC and you knew like she was champ that you know what, maybe she's not even going to defend her belt and we're going to have some uncertainty with the division?
I was pretty confident that she would. I think pretty early on she's been saying that she wanted to defend, both belts, and it's not ever really a concern. I know that the my division's so young in the UFC and kind of still a little bit uncertain that I don't put all my eggs into one basket. So I kind of just don't expect too much. But it's really nice that she's going to be the first to attempt to defend her belt in both divisions, and hopefully I'll spoil the plans of having a successful defense of the belt. Unfortunately.
And what are your thoughts of going to Brazil, fighting her in her home country? I mean, everyone talks about the hostile crowd in Brazil and stuff like that. Are you excited for this kind of challenge? Do you think the pressure is more on her because she's fighting at home?
Well, I don't really think about. I don't know who's got more pressure. I mean, probably on the there would be more on her as to keep her legacy, and everything, her winning ways. But it's also a huge opportunity for me, and I take it as just like a whole new set of challenges and things to look into. I am excited to be heading to Brazil, and I have some teammates that are also really excited to be getting the chance to go down there, having a good excuse to go, and hopefully we'll be able to plan things out to where everything's just as smooth as a closer fight. So I'm kind of just starting to get down to the logistics of everything, and but I'm really excited to be traveling down there and meeting the Brazilian fans. I'm sure there's some good ones.
And is the plan to go out there early?
Probably not too early, but I'm playing with the idea of going out a little earlier than the typical event. So hopefully I can get a couple training sessions that are in there before the weight cut starts.
And yeah, speaking of that, I mean, the quick turnarounds, does that help? Like with in terms of the weight cut and maybe not getting too out of shape because you don't really have time. I mean, right away you're thinking about a title shot right away. Like you're coming off the big win in Norfolk, and here you are already knowing what's next.
Yeah, I mean, not like a huge difference. No, knowing I don't really. I usually try to get in sort of get to around where I'm at right now anyway, like before camp. So, I mean, I'm definitely a few pounds lighter than I normally would be starting, but there's not that much of a difference with the walk around and everything. So, it is nice to kind of have just a week where I didn't really train and that no training and fighting, and then I kind of go back and my cardio still feels good and all that. So I definitely will be taking advantage of that jump start to get ready for this 5 round battle.
Amanda Nunes has been so dominant. I mean, she's obviously a dual champ. What do you think people have been doing wrong? I mean, have you watched all of her fights? Have you been studying her, knowing that she could be a future opponent? And what do you feel like people have been doing wrong? I mean, she's looked so kind of like invincible, but then in her last fight against Jermaine, maybe you got to see more. I mean, have you been impressed with what she's doing? And what do you feel like people are doing wrong that they're not able to find success against her?
I'm definitely impressed by everyone. Everyone in the UFC has a lot going on, a lot to watch. I haven't really had a chance to watch things recently, but of course I've been paying attention to her since before her UFC days. Um, I'm excited to kind of sit down and start to watch some old stuff and some new stuff, and break down even my own fights again. And as far as what people do wrong, I know there's some openings that are left where Amanda's been able to capitalize on it, and I just have to make sure that I don't have any openings, unnecessary openings. And there's definitely some things to pay attention to with the last fight, but I know it's not always a reflection of how the future fights can go, or a full reflection of her skill set. But I think there's some places that I can excel in the clinch or on the ground. So yeah, I'm excited to start breaking it down though.
How important was that fight that you had with Chris Cyborg? Going 15 minutes. I know it's a loss, and it was your first pro loss, and a loss is never going to feel good for you, especially if it's your first pro loss. But how important was that experience? Going 15 minutes with a fighter the caliber of Chris Cyborg, and you feel like that's a valuable kind of experience for you going into a championship fight with Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the preparation, being confident that my mindset will be fine. I take away a lot of great things from the experience, even in the loss. From leading up to the fight and through the 15 minutes. It's definitely something I can draw from.
I'll leave you with a couple more before I let you go, and I appreciate the time. Canadian MMA, maybe especially in the UFC, isn't what it used to be. And I feel like when you've come into the scene, it's kind of like the hope for a lot of people. Are you feeling people getting behind you, like kind of keeping Canadian MMA alive and keeping it like kind of giving hope for the other fighters? Are you feeling that? Because we're seeing a lot of maybe the other names that we used to see, like the Elias Theodoros, the Olivier Aubin-Mercier. I mean, George St. Pierre no longer, of course, fighting. But are you feeling that support from the Canadian fans?
Yeah, it's been really nice to hear from so many Canadians from all across, and it's been kind of a surprise since I've been in the UFC how many have gotten behind me, and I do feel really elevated by the Canadian fans. So it's I'm in a lucky spot to be able to do that and have that openness in their hearts.